Hey everyone, Jason here from Usable Smoke Productions, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to make a template in Logic Pro and why you want one. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive right in, and what I'm going to do is go a little bit out of order here just to kind of show you, I guess maybe the end game first, show you what's possible in creating a template and why you would want to you know work towards that point when you're starting a new project and so forth. And then we'll dive in a little bit deeper, and I'll show you how to actually do one from scratch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just starting here for my choose a project opening screen here from Logic. I'm going to go ahead and go down to project templates. I'm sorry, my templates. The project templates here, they give you some starter ones, I guess, that you can kind of see the ins and the outs, how they work, the ones that come stock with Logic Pro. My templates, these are ones that you build. Okay, so what I kind of did here is I started out with one that I was putting together here back in March of this year, and I was experimenting, and I came across just some sounds that I thought were useful to me in terms of some songs that I were working on at the time. I liked the sound, the bass sound that I was getting. I liked the sound of my acoustic guitar. And from working on various other projects, I've kind of sort of gravitated towards a certain type of sound, electric guitar, synths, and so forth, okay, that work for me. So I think the bottom line of everything I'm going to show you today is you want to develop a template that is for you. There's not necessarily a one-size-fits-all template that's going to work for every single type of genre or every type of singer-songwriter, producer, and so forth, okay? So I don't necessarily recommend developing one template and just sticking to that, because I think that can be a bit stifling in the creative process. Just find one that works for you, and then you can go from there and tweak and adjust as needed. So anyway, I'm going to mute my drums bus here and just kind of show you, how I kind of came up with this prototype. I'll show you what the end game of it is, and then I'll show you how to do one from stock. So here's the sound that I kind of liked in terms of my bass and my acoustic guitar. We'll take a listen real quick. Okay, so as you can kind of tell, there's some, little, this is not a mixing video or anything like that. There's inaccuracies and little problems here and there and stuff, but I like that general sound, okay? So what I did was, once I kind of figured out what is getting me that sound, what types of plugins, what types of settings I was using and enjoying, I basically saved it to a template. And it's really easy to do that. You just go up here to your file menu, you go save as template, and then you could name it whatever you want to name it. In this case, I named mine 3-7-21 because that's when I came up with it, and I kind of left it as is. Okay, and from this point, what I can do is, I can very easily delete literally everything that's on here. Okay, I can select everything. I can delete it, and I can treat this as a brand new project. I can go and I track my bass, whatever bass part I'm coming up with at the time. I can track it, and then what I can do is, once I have sort of my demo ready to go, I can go ahead and just save it as a project, as a new project, and that way my template stays as is. I'm saving this as a new project, and then I'm good to go. Okay. I can continue working within this template. If I determine that there are parts of it that I don't like or that I won't be using, for example, if I'm just planning on keeping this bass, guitar, and drums, I don't need all this electric stuff. I can get rid of my electric guitars. I can get rid of my synthesizer. I won't be using it, so I can then just delete it, get rid of it. Okay. So I'm not going to save that because I'm going to keep those changes as is. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and go back to my main opening screen here. And I'm going to show you kind of the end game. This is where I wound up, starting off with just that kind of idea of that sound in mind. This is my sound. This is what I'm working with. This is what's useful to me. And I'm going to go ahead and open this new one up. And you're going to see that there's a lot of things that I've changed since then. The first thing that probably will jump out at you is that there's some color coding going on. This is just a way for me to stay organized. I know that drums are red. I know my bass is orange. I know my acoustic is yellow. And I'm able to open things up and see my entire, I can see my whole workflow here, one track at a time. Okay. In my mixer window, it does the same. So if I want to just focus on what I'm doing with my drums, I go ahead and open up my track stack there. Everything down here is red. Okay. And I can easily color code that just by right clicking or control clicking, and you can assign a channel strip color to each one of those as you see fit. Okay, pretty easy to do it. It pulls up a little palette here. You can adjust your color and all that. Again, that's just organizational. That won't have any impact on how you do your routing or anything like that. Okay, but reasons why I chose to do things this way. Again, it works for me as a singer-songwriter, as a music creator. For me, the reason why I like having things kind of arranged in this order is I'm always a drummer first. Before I was playing guitar, before I was singing, before I was writing even, I was a drummer. And I have all my inputs set up, labeled, organized. I have buses and sends arranged and all that other good stuff that works for my particular style of writing and style of recording and all that good stuff. Okay. So again, if you're interested in why I chose to route things the way that I did, that perhaps is a video for another time. But I'm just here to kind of show you how to get started with creating a template. Okay. But you can really go crazy with the level of organization here. I'll show you how to do this here in just a second. But this is what works best for me. I have my drums, I have my bass, I have my acoustic guitar, I have my electric guitars, my synth settings, percussion settings. When I track horns, I do so in I have a certain methodology. This is a reminder of what kind of microphones that I use and things like that when I'm recording horns and whatnot. So again, I try to be an organized person so that when I am getting to the tracking step, I can just open up my template and I can just go to work. And I don't have to, sit there and, adding this track, naming this track, and so forth. It's already pretty much done for me by creating a template. Now, you do have to do the work initially when you're creating a template for the first time. You have to go through the steps and you have to actually, you might be able to find some templates out there that are close to what you want, or you might want to start with a stock one from Logic. But again, if you want complete and total control over the way you design things, creating your own template is probably the way to go, in my opinion. All right, so this kind of shows you, what you can do. Once you kind of find develop your own preferences, I guess, you can modify everything from what you want in the, your display. You can customize your control bar. You can select all these different items that work best for you. And when you save it as a template, it'll save everything about it. Okay, so if you want to have your CPU meter here, you want to have you want to have your sampling rate displayed, your time signature, your tempo, your subdivisions. You can select it all here, and when you get to the saving template step, you can go ahead and just save it as a template, and all of those settings will be there the next time you open it up. Same thing is true here. Um, you want to right click on this, and if you want to determine what type of track headers you want, you can select everything. You can deselect things if they're not of use to you. And once you have your preferences in order, it'll save it for you every single time. Again, the color coding, all of that, it will save it for you, and you don't have to uh, get bogged down with adjusting those types of things from your project once you're getting into the tracking stage. Because again, how long does it take you to ever finish a song? That's kind of the question. When is finished finished? Well, in my experience, it helps to start with a workflow and a level of organization that can not be a distraction from your from your composing and your recording and all of that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this and show you. Let's see. We'll go ahead and open this up again and show you that I actually have different templates created for different purposes. That most recent one is for creating the type of music that I'm creating now for my own personal recreation. And if I'm working on an album or an EP or something like that, this is my go-to. But I also have another template for just drums. So if I'm tracking drums for another artist, I'll use this template. I'll be able to bring in their project as a WAV file, and I'll go to work, in terms of just focusing on the drums. If I'm arranging a piece for concert band, flutes, clarinets, oboes, bassoon, French horn, trumpets, etc., I have a different template that I've created that works for that particular genre. So again, I want to stress that I don't think there's any one particular one-size-fits-all template, but again, I think it's good to have it as a starting point for any kind of project that you might be working on. So we're going to go ahead and open up this tune that I've been using for the last couple of videos. It's a song called Shades, and just to kind of recap here, what have we done so far? Well, we looked at our tracks as we brought them over from a GarageBand project. We named them, we organized them, we created some track stacks. We also covered some basics of busing, and we routed some things, and we haven't gotten into any mixing or, retracking or anything like that. But given the nature of this song, I know what I want to do with it. So I don't think this song would be appropriate for the template that I have just showed you. That's kind of like the end game for what I'm doing now. This song was written a while ago. It has its own kind of character, and I want to preserve that character. It's my belief that music is sort of like a little snapshot in time of how you were thinking and feeling in that moment, and I want to preserve that, even though I may retrack and re-record certain parts of this song, or maybe even most of it. I want to preserve the character of it. Okay, so not every template is going to get me there. I might have to adjust some things. All right, so my preference, okay, I said I was a drummer first. I'm going to move some things around here. I like having drums, bass, acoustic guitar, electric guitar, okay, percussion. I've got some accordion stuff. Here's my vocal stuff down here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with, I know that I'm going to be re-recording some drums, okay, because at the time that I recorded this, I was using a stereo mixer. That means all of my mics, all of my, just everything that I was playing was summed to just a stereo channel mixer, and I did not have individual multi-tracks the way that I do now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some tracks here, because I know I'm going to be redoing drum set. I'm going to add about 10 of them, one for each of my microphones. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start that labeling process. That's my overhead left. This is my overhead right. Then I'm going to have my snare top. I'm going to have my snare bottom. I'm going to have my kick in. I'm going to have my kick out. I'm going to have my tom 10-inch. I'm going to have my tom 12-inch. I'm going to have my tom 14-inch. And here, I forgot one track. I'm going to need to add another one here. Just go ahead and duplicate that. All right. And then this is going to be my room mic left. And this is going to be my room mic right. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire workflow of how and why I do this, but the next step, again, in terms of just creating this template, I'm going to, I'm not exactly sure what I did there. I think I accidentally recreated a track. There we go. Just kind of show you the next step would be for me to assign my inputs. So I'm going to go ahead and my overhead left. I'm going to go ahead and go to input 3. My overhead right, I'm going to go ahead and go to input 4. Now I have these labeled here. I can go to my mix tab here and scroll down to IO labels. And again, just in terms of staying organized, I can actually label all of my inputs, all of my, my pre's. I can label them in Logic to be what I use them for. You can see my first input here. I use my 57 and 58 usually for vocal stuff, or if I'm recording an instrument. That's one of my go-to mics, the 57. I've got my large diaphragm condenser here on input 2. Inputs 3 and 4, I've got my pencil condensers, my small diaphragm condensers. Same thing with my hi-hat, input 5. Same thing with my input 6 for the ride cymbal, although I'm not currently using that mic. Then I've got my room lefts and rights. I've got all these other inputs assigned. Now I have 2 interfaces that I'm using. Actually, one interface, I'm using a Behringer UMC 1820. And that gives me 8 pre's. And then I'm also using the add-on unit, the Behringer ADAT 8200. That gives me 8 more that I use them together to get my, the total number of pre's that you see here. Because, for recording live drums, my preference is to have each mic or each drum or cymbal individually mic'd. That's just a preference, though. Okay, so I would continue labeling these. I'm not going to label all of them now, but I'm just going to kind of show you this would be my process in terms of getting all of my just everything labeled and in there. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time. I would then do the same thing. Okay, I'm just going to close my drum set stuff. I would then do the same thing. Oh, I almost forgot. You can actually make this part of your track stack if you wanted to, right? So I would flatten my stack here, and then I would just highlight everything here the way that we did in our previous video, and I would right-click and I would create my track stack, create a summing stack, and this here becomes my drum set. Okay, so now I've got everything together right there being summed to one bus. And I can further make tweaks with my buses and sends from within that track stack. Okay, so anyway, I would go ahead and create my bass preference. Again, like you can save all of your preferences as channel strips and things like that. One thing that I really like doing is beyond the color coding thing, which I may as well show you that now. What you can do is you can go ahead and right-click on any one of these track headers here, and you can assign a track color. Okay, so we know that my preference for bass is orange. Okay, my preference for drum set is red. My preference for acoustic guitar is this sort of in between orange and yellow. My preference for electric guitar, yellow. So we can do this all day and have a lot of fun with it. Colors make things makes it a little bit more fun, I think. But you can go ahead and do this, and of course, once you open things up, you can then expand it and change things to other colors. You can highlight and kind of do the same thing here. Here we go. Assign track colors. So here we go. So now I have things organized by color. I'll go in and I'll kind of adjust this, at another time to get it to be exactly the way that I want to. But again, this kind of helps me to just stay organized. I can take all my drum stuff and assign that to a uh, a color like that, and there you have it. So I'm already on my way to improving my workflow and staying organized. I'm starting to get my preferences uh, put into my project. Okay, so again, once you go through all of these steps, okay, and again, everybody's going to have their own steps. This is what just works best for me. Once you have gone through and organized things the way that you want them to be, you can go ahead and save it as a template. All right, so when I save it as a template, I can name it anything that I want. Okay, I would not name it the same thing as whatever song you're working on, though. Okay, because again, you want to save that as a project. That's going to be your composition. To save it as a template means you're going to use it again for another project eventually, right? So you want to name it something else. Maybe you want to name it, um, you know, uh, template 3 or template 2, or whatever it is. You can save it as a template, and then you can open it up as a template. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to show you that this might help you is, you can assign pictures to your tracks, and you can even take pictures of your gear if you wanted to, and save it under a custom icon. You can create a new icon, just drag it in from your whatever file is on your computer, and you can apply it there. And this helps you kind of keep track even further, what your project is. So again, this is what works best for me. Why you want a template? Again, it creates it's easy to get started with a project. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to exit out of this. I'm not going to save that. I'm going to load up my template that I just saved. Under my templates here, here's template 3. All right, so again, once I have things organized the way that I want them to be, it's going to automatically save all my audio files. Okay, but I can always go to select all. I can get rid of everything. Yep, I want to erase everything. Okay, and now all I'm left with is my template. So I can begin a fresh project with all the options and everything that I wanted. Once again, if I wanted to customize my control bar and my display, I can go ahead and add what I want. If I wanted to add, my sample rate, if I wanted to add my pre-fader metering or low latency, or if I wanted to add in, let's see, where's my CPU meter here? I've already got it selected. I can go ahead and add that, and now it's there. And of course, all I got to do is save it as a template, and it'll ask me if I want to rewrite it. I can rewrite it, replace it, and now I have these new settings up there so that I can, really quickly, pull things up and have them organized and ready to go the way that I want them to be. All right, so again, it's not that hard to create a template. It does take a fair amount of time at first. Again, your end game may look differently than mine because everybody has a different workflow. But again, the idea behind it is to create a template so that you are not stuck, creating tracks as you go and, trying to figure out what settings you had last time that worked well for a particular sound. If you find the sound that you want, you find the sound that you enjoy, that you're looking for, save it as a template so that you have it ready to pull up the next time you start a new project. If you want to go for something similar, you can tweak from there. All right, so I think that about does it for now. Ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land, thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. And until next time, happy music making. And again, I hope that through my trial and error, through my mistakes, that maybe you're you're getting something out of watching these videos, and it helps you with your music creation and your music production. So until next time, everybody, take care. I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye bye.